and ruthless conspiracy to censor the news, stifle dissent, cover up our mistakes. Cover up our mistakes.
So, welcome to another episode of Unwanted, and you can catch this episode or new episodes every other week, every other Monday, typically. Usually within 48 hours of recording them, they're available on all the audio platforms, and typically you find them live streamed on YouTube and also on Rumble soon after the live stream on YouTube. You can find all those links and much more at theunionoftheunwanted.com. We're gonna dive right into it. I know we talked about Mexico. Is there any other topics that people wanna maybe bring up? I mean, Sam, I know you missed the last episode or two. Has there been something that has piqued your interest or has been much of your focus in regards to research or interests of late, Sam?
I do no research. I just need you to know that. I just go with feel. I do find it interesting. The 3-eye atlas is like, it's near us and nobody cares because Donald Trump's giving out sloppies, right? And what I find funny about that whole thing is how the left will just listen. I'm on nobody's side. I just want everyone to know that I am politically atheist. I believe in neither party, and I have no allegiance to anybody. I do find it absolutely hilarious how an email comes out saying, Trump's giving sloppies, and they just run with it, and it's like this weird kind of thing that you see where it's like I lost a lot of my friends during the P-Gate scandal, and everyone's telling me I was crazy, even though I at that time had done some research and saw some dots connect, and I got yelled at. And then, but the minute Trump comes into this thing, and this is not a pro-Trump statement in any way, because I think he's a scumbag. Once Trump comes into the equation, suddenly they believe it wholeheartedly, right? It's like 100%. And it just makes me laugh how like the left is constantly pushing, the gay lifestyle, trans. But the minute you say Obama is gay and Michelle is Michael, they freak out on you and start yelling at you. And that, they're like, oh, the gays are the best. They're unicorns. And then they're like basically mocking Trump because he's giving sloppies. It just makes me laugh because in reality, they don't believe what they're saying, meaning they're pushing this lifestyle as this like higher vibrational lifestyle. In reality, they mock it too. And that's what I found really funny is this belief. And there's on both sides, obviously. And I'm open-minded to hearing how the other side's stupid too, because I will co-sign on that. But this belief in things like, like a billion genders, climate change, the vaccine, whatever it is that they just buy hook, line, and sinker instantly, that when something that fits their narrative just pops out, there's zero research into it, whether it's real or not, and they just run with it. And it's like, it makes me laugh because it goes against everything they've been pushing for so long. So that's what I find really interesting, how the P-gay people were demonized by everybody, but the Trump gives sloppies is just fully accepted with zero research on whether it's real or not. And that's what I find very interesting, how that story, and it's guys, I mean, like this is November and we're getting Trump's giving sloppies in November. What is the season finale of 2025 going to have in December? Like, what is it going to be? If we're at Trump's giving sloppies in November, something's got to be the cliffhanger at the end.
Well, one thing I'm curious on everybody's perspective is the civil war on the right at the moment, and the America First versus the America First, unless you're talking about Israel people. And it's
that wouldn't be America First then. If once you bring in the Israel people, it becomes mega again, which is MEGA or whatever they call it. MEGA.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. That's what the Charlie Kirks and the other people who have similar ideologies kind of were butting heads with some of the other America, or at least they were titling themselves as America First, but then it was really America First, unless you're talking about Israel, then America's interest comes after Israel. There's something interesting going on at the moment because obviously the left has already been pro-Palestine, very typically very outspoken on the war crimes of Israel and Bibi Netanyahu and whatnot. And now with the right, which has historically, at least in recent history, been where they've gotten much of their support. Now with that transitioning and changing, it seems like there is going to be this broad awakening of like losing all support. Do you guys see that happening? Or, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
personally,
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's already. Said it would happen at the beginning of Trump's administration, and certain people, I'm not gonna say their name, told me I was back on drugs. But I said, dude, it's like I thought for a short time, and don't get mad at me, Craig. Okay, but I thought for a short time, the America had pushed out the Marxist, and we can get into what real Marxism is. I know we've had that conversation, and I agree with you. This kind of cultural Marxism, we got rid of that, but that seems to have fucking just come back full throttle. And I said the right would get rid of Zionism, and you're slowly seeing that. Now the question is, are they actors honest actors? That is the big question. Are they honest actors, or are they kind of all corralling us into an area so that at some point they can detonate it and make us all demoralized? Because everything is demoralization. I know I'm talking too much right now, but everything's demoralization. Trump sloppies is demoralization. Obama being gay, demoralization. It's about demoralizing
That
your
was the
base.
most uplifting news of the week was Trump blowing Bill Clinton. Get
Yeah,
out of here.
I mean, come on, dude. Come on. I mean, it's like we should all be celebrating, dude. The progressives should be running to him. He's like one of us, but nope, nothing like that. So that's my opinion.
I don't think the word should be corralling. I think the word is actually kettling, right? Like where are they moving people towards? You hear people like Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, and it's still at the end of the day when I've heard Candace Owens talk about the whole Donald Trump situation. Now, at this point, if you're supporting Donald Trump, you're either just one of the lowest informed people out there, or you're just dealing with serious amounts of copium that you can't admit to yourself that you made a mistake for backing these people. And I just like to say too, Sam, I think that when we're talking about these people as the left, I think this is just a small amount of people. It really doesn't represent a large amount. Most of the independent, the populist left, if you will, do not, we really don't care about that. What you told me about this whole Donald Trump thing, I don't even know. But yet, the fact is, a lot of people don't know about NSPM.
You don't know about the sloppies, bro?
No. I'm more concentrated on
the sloppies everywhere.
I'm more and listen, I keep my ear to the grindstone, so I'm paying attention.
Well, you gotta look up because he's giving sloppies.
But see, those are the things they want to distract people with and talk about, anyways, because they're not really talking about the things that we need to talk about. I mean, the First Amendment out the window. We know that. The Fourth Amendment out the window. There is no due process. But now with this National Security Presidential Memorandum number 7, I mean, pre-crime is here. It's official. Like I said, they are not designating people like they did with Biden's, after January 6th situation. They're actually directing the 3 ledger agencies to start going after us, pre-crime style, even the IRS. This is some really scary stuff right here. And these are the things we need to be talking about. Not to mention, there's a lot of wars that are looming on the horizon. And to me, when I talk about the kettling, yeah, they might move out of the whole Israel situation, but this talk of Christians are being persecuted, white Christians are being persecuted all around the globe. And then a lot of the people on the populist right are falling for it. The whole Nigeria situation. I mean, people are really being duped here.
I agree with you on Nigeria. Yeah. This is another play, but they have murked, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. They have murked 1 million white Christians in the Ukraine.
In the Ukraine?
In the Ukrainians.
I don't think it's a million. But it's a lot.
It's 1 million. I've heard the number 1 million. And if it's not 1 million, I'll take the L on that. But that's the number I've heard.
Yeah, but that war is not about that war is not about religion. That's about I'm sorry, that war is not about religion. That war is about geopolitics. Right.
But
it's not about Christianity.
But that's who ends up
but
dying
hold
all
on,
the time in
hold
all these
on,
wars.
Craig. You can't sit there and say it's not about religion when you have a Jewish guy who's in charge who's throwing Christians into a meat grinder. And you can't say
Run
that.
by Nazis.
Hold on, dude. It doesn't matter who's fucking running it. It's like this thing about when Christians die, it doesn't matter. It's like really fucking annoying. And I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at the sentiment. It's really fucking annoying. You got a bunch of churches, Christian churches in fucking Europe being torched constantly. So
Yes.
this notion that this isn't a Christian fucking thing really pisses me the fuck off when I got Dave Portnoy or whatever his fucking name is crying about pennies being thrown at him while
Hey.
fucking people like 100 Christian kids died in a flood. You know, people walking into Christian churches and shooting them up. The notion that this isn't happening is annoying to me because it is fucking happening. But because we have this fucking thing with the fucking Vatican and we have this thing with fucking Catholicism that's been pushed that they're the fucking kitty diddlers. It's just annoying. It is happening, dude. It is happening.
It's actually an interesting point because, you know, when the war on terror, which all of us opposed, and I assume most of us opposed in real time, if you're old enough to have, but it was like there was always this, particularly from the anti-war left, there was always this intonation of like they're just there to kill brown people. You know, it was like it's Islamophobia.
That's
It's
right.
about killing Muslims, and then with Israel Palestine, same thing. It's like Muslims versus the Jews, but then Russia, Ukraine, and it's like, well, the Christian religion is not a factor whatsoever, at least in terms of the analysis. I'm not saying that it is a major factor.
Well, I mean,
it may or may
Putin
not
is-
be, but it's just an interesting oversight that unless it's Muslims or Jews or, you know, Africans or whatever.
But even
no one cares.
Putin is Jewish, dude. At his core, his lineage is Jewish, and now you have two Jewish lineage people sending a bunch of Christians to die in a fucking war. That is like, okay, what are we doing here? It's like really crazy. And Craig, I'm not yelling at you because you know I love you, dude. So I didn't.
No,
mean,
I'm
but-
going to yell at you in a second. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm here for it because you know I love you, dude.
But Sam was sadly, it's not because he talked about the world wars, the World War II. Millions of people
Hey,
died.
Don,
before.
is
You're
Don's
muffled,
audio
Don.
fucked for?
Your audio's
Don, you
weird.
sound like Kermit the Frog, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with it?
I think Kermit
Unplug,
hacked
replug.
Kermit
Something
the
better.
Frog meets Soundwave from the Decepticons.
Can I talk briefly about the I guess the
But Nigeria, I
Civil
will
War on
agree
the
with
right?
you on. Yeah, go on. Nigeria, I agree
Yeah.
with you on. That's being set up like that so they could take the resources. But I agree with you on that one.
Let's go to Clint and then Pasta.
I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
No, I just keep talking about sloppies all night. Sam. You're cheering me up.
I also want to then talk about what he's talking about, Sam, because I've talked to a lot of people about this idea of like our historic dislike of Russia and the Soviets. Some people do believe it does have something to do with the Christian values and the fact that a lot of Western Europe has been completely plagued by, you know, Western values. You know, Portugal, France, France obviously has a first lady that's a man. Nobody cares because they're all weird there. And the thing is, you know, Russia seems to be one of the few places that still holds on. I'm not saying that everything's right in that country and whatnot, but it does seem like one of the reasons why they could dislike them at, you know, as much as they have throughout history could be because they are holding on to some of those Christian values and is a majority Christian country.
Well, that's been a major criticism of the Jewish diaspora because so often they endorse, mass immigration, particularly from Muslim countries into the Western world and replacing the Christian communities because apparently they perceive the Christians to be a bigger threat to them than the Muslims, which is fascinating because that's not the rhetoric that you hear from Bibi Netanyahu. Anyway, setting that aside, I just wanted to say briefly about the Civil War on the right. I think it's one of the most hopeful things I've ever witnessed, honestly. It seems also like a real unifying opportunity for the left and the right for basically the anti-Zionist movements to come together on common ground, recognizing that we don't have control of our own government anymore. And, you know, I'm very late to that game. I certainly didn't realize it, you know, as early as many people on this panel, but it has become more and more glaringly obvious thanks to Donald Trump's unbelievable cuckoldry when it comes to Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. It's mind blowing to me. So Yeah, I think it's actually a really good thing. I think that the rise of Nick Fuentes is a positive ultimately, which may be a controversial statement, but I don't give a fuck.
Dangerous.
I think it's very positive. And I think that the platforming of him, even though I hate to even talk in those terms, is a fucking great thing. I think the fact that he's ratings Bonanza gold mine is tremendous. It demonstrates that it's not just about having edgy opinions. There's a real market for that. Like, people really want like cutting edge commentary. He's obviously very funny, but his geopolitical analysis is actually tremendous. So I appreciate that he's reaching such a huge audience, and I appreciate that there's kind of this galvanization that's happening amongst all right wing commentators that are not compromised, not owned by foreign governments or our own intel agencies. Czech Posobiec, cough cough. That are now basically bucking that trend and just saying, fuck it, I'm going to have Fuentes on my show. And also, I'm not going to, even if I'm not going to host him, I'm not going to condemn Candace Owens. I'm not going to condemn Tucker Carlson. It's like, this is the best distillation of who is at least somewhat independent versus who is totally compromised I've ever seen, or at least in a long time. So I think it's healthy. I think it's good. And I'm riding the wave. I like it.
Can we let Craig tee off? Go on for it.
Absolutely.
I'll take my mess and go on for it.
Well, first off, I didn't know that Putin was Jewish. So his
He
lineage
is.
was Jewish. No, he's not. He's Christian.
Yeah, he is.
Orthodox.
No,
He's an
he
Orthodox
converted.
Christian.
His grandfather's
to it.
Jewish, dude. His grandfather.
His mother's got to
is
be Jewish, and he's
That's
not.
dumb
Look,
rule,
see, this
dude.
is the same
That's a
rhetoric
fake fucking
that's
rule,
coming
dude.
from the Bolshevik Revolution being about Jews killing Christians, which is also a false narrative.
Okay.
The Bolshevik.
You can
yes,
have
the Bolshevik
that.
Revolution.
I don't agree with that at all.
I know you don't, but once
That's
again,
fine.
these are. Yeah, I hear you.
You can.
But once again,
yeah, I
the
don't
crowd
agree
a
with
little
that
bit
at
late
all.
to the game. Stuff we've been talking about for decades.
Not just you, Craig. A lot of us have. You're
Yeah.
not the only guy who's done research into this.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm
That's
just saying
what
the
you just
research that
literally
you
said.
have done is flawed.
Okay, great.
That's
Your
all I'm
research
saying.
is
I
a good
disagree with it
research.
completely.
That's
I'm telling you
fine.
my point of view, right?
Right.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk because you got to talk. Enjoy the popsicle. Listen up, and let me get into this.
Okay.
Putin is not Jewish. He's Christian Orthodox, whatever the case may be. And this is listen. There's a piece of me, Sam, that shared your same disdain of what's going on. I felt a lot of people who were for the pro-Palestinian movement or the pro-peace movement or the anti-genocide movement didn't talk about Russia-Ukraine because it was a bunch of white people over there. I honestly believe that. You know what I'm saying? And I was very critical of a lot of people on the left not stepping off and not being anti-war across the board and being misled in what's going on with Russia-Ukraine, okay? But at the end of the day, I don't know where this unification is going to be. I do believe we are still a very much anti-Muslim country, an anti-immigration country. A lot of people, they're okay with what's going on in Venezuela right now, completely abandoning our values as what makes America great again. I thought that was a digression back to the Constitution, back to the First Amendment, which has been thrown out the window, right? Marco Rubio's talked about pulling your passport if you talk badly about Israel, right? And they've been arresting people for their opinions on what's going on in Israel, Gaza. The Fourth Amendment's out the door. There's no more due process. I mean, this blowing up of the boats is just disgusting out there, right? We used to be about, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. It's gone completely out the window. And that's what I brought today, this whole NSPM-7, this memorandum of what's going on. Hey, man, the Great Reset is in full effect. But I do think the voices, these small, minute voices are being screamed upon, and it's not really representative of what's going on out there, and I like I said, when you look at most of these issues, this is about geopolitics. People are twisted, they're propagandized, and when it goes to Nigeria, like you said, it's half Christian, half Muslims. Actually, more Muslims were killed by Boko Haram than Christians. It was just a more predominantly Christian area, so they can twist that narrative and stuff. But what do they really want? Right? They want all the rare earth minerals over there. They want the oil over there. And too many people take the bait. And when I see people like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and whatnot, I understand what they're saying now, but where are they taking us? They're taking us to say, and I once again, I want to talk apples to apples. How many more Muslims are killed every year by a nation of Christians right now, you know what I'm saying, than actual Christians are being burnt down? It's almost insignificant. And I'm not saying we should compare the two. I'm just saying that we're propagandized against the board and it's being misled. Just to sit there and say that there's a Holocaust going on and white Christians are being killed, that's some crazy stuff over there.
But,
meanwhile, every single day a genocide is taking place in Gaza.
but
okay.
Craig, can I hop in real quick? I just want to say,
Yeah.
Fuentes has actually been really good on the war in Gaza too. So he's not just
Yes.
exclusively interested in protecting
Yes.
Christians. He seems to have a much more broad anti-war sentiment. So I think it's a net positive.
Do you think that his language, though, his rhetoric is okay when he uses the term Jews instead of Jewish supremacist or Zionist? I think that's more.
I
That's
don't really care
bad
how
for
he-
the
how he
movement,
talks about
right?
it.
It actually
I don't care how he
gives
talks about it.
ammunition to the Zionist.
Do
I
you think
understand that,
Justin
but
Mason, we're not pushing, we're not doing this, we're doing this.
Don,
You
Don,
sound
you
like-
sound like you work at a
Mickey
Wendy's
Mouse.
drive-through right now. You
He
sound like you
sounds like
Sen-
that bird. He sounds like the bird on Snoopy. You know that little birdie?
You sound like Charlie Brown's mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody's got to go to Don's house and get him a microphone.
This is a matter of how to run that. I'm telling you anywhere.
No.
That
We
ain't
can't
gonna work, Doc.
understand you, buddy. We can't understand you.
We
But
can't
Craig-
hear you at all.
For
Don.
Craig, I think it's still a net positive though, because like, sure, you may get Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes to talk more anti-war when it comes to white Christians that are being attacked. Like, okay, but is that still not pushing in the right direction? Do we not want to have as many voices pushing against war as we can possibly get? Like, I think, the same thing with the left. Like, the left is not concerned with Ukraine, as you said earlier, largely because it's white people dying and they don't view it as some sort of imperial, power struggle under some Marxist framework. So who cares? But they're still good on Gaza. So
Yeah.
they're an ally in that moment, right?
They are an ally in that moment, but they're not being completely, anti-war across the board, and that's
Well,
it's
neither is
really
the
a shame
left.
because that's a meat grinder over there. And like I said, I think it has sometimes more of a negative effect with their language, the way they're using it, than a positive effect. So
Well,
I-
same,
That's
with,
why
same
he's
with
a
the left,
psyop
though.
influencer.
Same with the left. They do the exact same thing. I don't like their framing when it comes to, it's an imperial power struggle when it comes to Israel Gaza. I think that's not helpful, but I don't care, because it's still someone who's protesting the war, and you can have the same criticism of Fuentes on the right and saying Jews. I don't say it like that, but at least he's against the war.
and I appreciate that Liberty Lockdown.
Well, there's definitely propaganda about Christians too. I mean, in Canada, there's 120 churches that have been burnt down in the last few years. Not a peep out of the media. Nobody's getting held accountable. If you did that to a mosque in Canada, hell would be paid for. I mean, so there is something going on against the Christians.
Well, I think there's also been a dearth of defense of both white people and Christians when it comes to these types of atrocities. So it's a natural, pivot back or a teeter-totter tip over, so.
Yeah, and I've been very vocal, like on like about if you think that a bunch of people who lived in the desert pulled off the greatest aviation feat of all time, you're delusional. And we committed genocide, and like nobody ever talks about what America did to Iraq, which is a 2 million to 3 million people dying. I mean, that is a crime that should be held accountable. And when Dick Cheney dies peacefully, it's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm with you. I'm just like, it's just this narrative that people, which is controlled by certain people. We don't have to get into that. It's just, I just get upset when I watch Dave Point crying about pennies being thrown at him. And it's just like, when forever there's been this demoralization through cultural Marxism. I know, Craig, we could have a difference on that. And
it's okay.
I'm with you. Through the media, through these books, white fragility, white nationalism, all this shit. Look at the names on the books. My girlfriend's Jewish. I love Jews. I was just at Skankfest, dude. All these comics are Jewish. They're all great people. It's not the base, dude. It's
Can
not
I
the
ask
base.
something
As
about
you
the
move up,
churches?
that's where it gets to. But real quick, let me finish here. And now we got this whole thing going on where it's like, I just don't believe in protected classes. I believe everybody, I believe that nobody is above criticism or comedy, and you should be able to call anybody out you want. Now, whether we want to get into hate speech and stuff like that, and what's the intention, but when you've been in a group that has been allowed to kind of like shut down all criticism because of a horrible event that happened back in the day, and now because October 7th, people are kind of talking, I think that's good. I think it's good to have these conversations. I don't think anyone should ever get special treatment. I think people should all be called out on their bullshit. And I've said this forever. It's like, the best way to change a group of people is outside influences. It's like a buddy of mine way back in the day, he would tell me like you need outside influences to make change. It's like if you kind of look at prison, right? You see men, there's no females in the prison to reward and punish their behavior, so they become the most manly man version of that stuff. So when you have these groups that have been kind of isolated and away from criticism, that doesn't help at all. I think we should have open dialogue.
Well, and it breeds contempt too. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's my opinion.
Yeah, Jewish people are the blacks of the right wing. Like it's the exact same dynamic. Black people, atrocity because of slavery. You cannot critique them, no matter how bad some of their individual behavior may be. Same thing with Jews when it comes to the right wing. You can't say anything critical of them, otherwise you're automatically anti-Semitic or you're racist on the left. It's a mirror image, and yet I'm called woke right, even though I apply the exact same fucking thing on both sides. It drives me nuts. Thanks, James Lindsay.
Is this better? My microphone better now?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what I did.
That's better.
No, it's not.
It's not better,
It's
brother.
not.
And we
Nope.
lost it.
Nope.
It's not better. You sound like that.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Close it out.
Yeah,
Close it off and
Close it out.
come back on,
Yeah,
or Don, do this. Just have your headphones, and just use your computer mic on like your laptop, and
Your
don't
webcam.
use the headphones that you're using now.
May I say something to Graham's point about the churches while you do that, Don? So Graham, let's say in 2020, Klaus Schwab said from here on out, there will not be before Christ, and after Christ, it'll be before Corona and after Corona. So I'd like to say that perhaps, given also how Christianity, depending on which scriptures and the rewriting of Jesus's story, also coupled with burning down these beautiful edifices, these churches, so what's the bigger thing going on here, in light of the Great Reset and this transhumanist agenda? I'm curious to know what your thoughts or anyone's thoughts.
I mean, yeah, that seems to be where they want to push us into this AI God. That seems to be it. All I can think about is how deep into JD Vance Peter Thiel got. Like, dude, you don't get all that without like giving up something. You don't get all those jobs and all those positions unless you gave up something pretty special, dude, to get to that position. And everybody's awkward.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Extra sloppy.
I don't know if it's a deep spiritual thing, Miriam, like it's a satanic thing or not, or if it's just a reaction from the people that really just don't like Christians. There is a materialistic kind of liberal a majority in Canada that just really doesn't like religion or Christianity. So I mean, I don't know if it's a deep sort of bigger,
more so than a
spiritual
mosque.
war.
Let's say I'm from Montreal. There were a lot of mosques put into place with an influx of immigrants, which
but that's under equalization and all that stuff. Like you're allowed, there's an excuse to allow that religion right now, right?
But there's always been a big Paki influence too, coming overseas to Canada. That's always been historically what you guys have had in that country for a long time.
I think the reason why there's that kind of swing on the pendulum is because of what the West has been doing for the last 20 years in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's happened in Syria, what's happened in Libya, what's happened in Iraq, what, Sam had mentioned. So a lot of people, when they think to kind of elevate the Christianity problem, some people are just kind of like, wait a second, this is going across the board. There's all religions seem to be at play over here that can be killed or whatnot.
Well,
the transhumanist event, those people, they think we're all useless leaders. I mean, during COVID, the thing I learned the most is that the ruling class was no longer willing to elevate white people to give them those privileges. In fact, they were the most targeted. Whitey had to go in that whole situation. In their eyes, we're all useless eaters, no matter what religion we are.
I'd like to say, though, with the creation of the Abrahamic religions in 1850 BCE, that the way I see it, it's a triangle that gets to play off of one another to create division. And also, let's remember, Walmart was whatever was open while they closed churches during Rona, and just having the power of people coming together in close proximity and praying. And I'm all for that. I mean, there's no shortage of hypocritical Christians, but there's hypocritical everything. So I see it as like a wiping out of humanity as we fast approach. I mean, in the past 2 months, we've seen the AI rapidly, and soon, if we look in the trajectory, the future generations, those kiddies that were, under face diapers, and they're not going to know what is authentic compared to what is a mimic. And that is a big, while people are fighting about religion and whether Putin is a Jew or a Christian, I mean, the bigger thing is, this fast approaching, in my perspective, of our liberties. And of course, Trump has not, he's a techno-fascist, and he's part of this fast approaching agenda.
Yeah, I mean, it's always about control at the end of the day. Like, even the conversations about left, right, which religion's being demonized more, like they don't care about any of that. They don't, it's all a way of controlling, right? So they're going to control the atheists by convincing the atheists that you don't have spirituality to save you, but you have Big Brother to save you. So believe in the religion of government, right? And, that's why we need more funding for the government, and everything's, the way out of every problem is government funding and more government and government programs. And then they're going to try to control the religious people by, infiltrating those things and telling, and using whatever worldviews or philosophies or strong opinions they might have against them and swaying them in certain directions. I mean, I was just watching, and I think Candace talked about this, the 7 mountains, right, of control. It's like media, religion, what education, whatever it may be. There's like 7 of them, right? And then if you can influence all those things, you can basically influence the masses. You influence everything.
Tavistock. I mean, it's part of the Tavistock long range incrementalism, and it's been in motion.
Yeah,
I think that's what this is about, by the way. This is what they're doing. They're moving us to more this AI technocracy. I mean, with this new memorandum, we're talking about that, technology they use in AI in Gaza, they're going to bring back here. And I've said this for so long. Whatever the empire does abroad, eventually the chickens will come home to roost, and they'll use it on us. And they seem to be using it on us effectively, I would say.
And they're also hinting, if you're not going to subscribe to this digital, then you're basically going to be asked to leave the reservation. And I'm seeing that people were all under design struggling financially, unless you're very plugged into the matrix and part of the hive mind. So what is the trajectory? What is the trajectory? I mean, arguably I'm a poster child for the social credit system that's coming up, because I'll give just a quick example that I got a loan offer with a phone number. I called, and it was for $10,000, and it had a BB Better Business Bureau. And by the way, everybody is getting offers for money. So called, and I'm like, I'm interested. I usually don't, I get these letters, and he's like, how much you want? I'm like, I want all of it. And so he's like, give me the code. And then this is what he says next. You're a conspiracy theorist. What? What the fuck popped up on the screen?
Holy shit.
So that is the future where they're going to know, they're going to have your dossier. How, you have to consider what the fuck popped up on his screen. Like a picture of Miriam with like conspiracy theorist branded. So I'm using this just as an example of what is out there for others. If they get pulled over, whatever. That they're gonna, it's Winston. I'm gonna hide in the corner and try to have some privacy.
I want to chart.
We've allowed this. I hope. Can you hear me now? I'm using
Yes.
There we go. Okay, so I'm relegated to that. But I think we're the central point of all of this is Zionism, and the fact that Zionism is indefensible, and you're seeing that no one can defend it, and that's why you're seeing the Ben Shapiro's and the Mark Levin literally going nuts. Because they absolutely can. If you saw the debate between Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson, you had a professional journalist showing how you could make mincemeat of Zionists by simply using logic. He had no answer for that. That's at the heart of all this. The heart of this October 7th, the wild overreaction to it. The whole world sees it. And then you have these histrionic Jews like that are in high positions going crazy over it. And no, you can't talk about it. And don't you? Sam mentioned Dave Portnoy, a sports guy, and he's coming and talking about making up fantasies. I mean, I've never seen anybody accost a Jew in a public place in my entire life. That's absolutely ridiculous that this guy is claiming he's people are throwing things at him or whatever. Come on, it's ridiculous. But this is the point that we have to face the fact that the entire right now is throwing that without that Christian evangelical group, Zionism would have nowhere to stand because it has no other support except for these born againers, fundamentalists, whatever you want to call them, who want Armageddon. They want this because they think it fulfills biblical prophecy. So, I'm glad the left, a lot of the people on the left that I don't like, the squad and everybody else, they're in lockstep criticizing this. The right, and you're seeing MAGA is breaking apart because you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, and a few others that are sensible about this and realize this is not what we voted for. And we didn't vote for bombing Venezuelan boats or any of that stuff either. And so I don't know. I don't think Trump, of course, he's not running for anything again. I don't think this coalition can hold, and I don't think the people, 70, 80 million people that voted for Donald Trump, I don't think they're going to vote for Marco Rubio. I don't think you can't put them back in the bottle.
Isn't that a good thing, though?
Well, yeah, it is, but I'm saying that they have to have somewhere to turn. Where are they going to turn? Will Thomas Massey run? Well, I don't know. Or people just going to stop voting. It's probably what they ought to do and realize.
Well, I just want to say something. Whenever someone starts popping off and getting a lot of heat and people start getting behind them, I always think of Albert Pike's quote, which is, when they need a hero, we will supply him. And yep. I know there's a lot of people like Massey, and I know there's a lot of people like Major Green, but I've been burnt so many freaking times that's really hard for me to think anybody's coming to save us. So I'm constantly.
I won't vouch for MTG, but I'll tell you, Thomas Massey was like a chat board ANCAP libertarian type like me 20 years ago.
I'm just saying that I will be wary of anybody.
Oh yeah, I'm not telling you to trust
that level. And I want to apologize for Craig for going so hard at him.
No, why do you keep apologizing? I love it. It makes for great TV.
He's got the stones.
I feel bad.
Are you nuts?
I feel bad.
I had a dream, though. I took a nap, and I had a dream that you brought that Andrew Wilson over here, and I was going to get into a serious fight. I'm glad you didn't there, pal. But listen, I think that what we have to be weary of, and to Clint's point, too, as well, isn't that a good thing? Yes, it's a good thing, but it's where's the pivot going to, right? Because when I look at Nick Fuentes, when I look at Candace Owens, even sometimes Tucker and Matt Gaetz, I still see them as being pro-imperialist, right? And they can just make this pivot over to a different spot. Right now, they're being able to pivot over to Latin America by labeling all these countries as narco-terrorists. I mean, this should really sound off some alarms. And this is the next quest now, right now, right? So you got to be careful about when they gain your trust. There's a lot of truth in the PSYOP, right? I think this is what I learned from Miriam a long time ago. There's a lot of truth going on in PSYOP. They'll tell you some truths, get you to gain your confidence, but then they'll direct you somewhere else. We got to be careful about where they're directing us next. And it looks like Latin America is on the menu. And this should be really, really scary.
Well, I totally agree with your analysis. And I don't even think it's on the menu. I think it's already being eaten. I think they're already running CIA operations. But I just wanted to point out, Tucker has done really great work in arguing against that war. He's been one of the only prominent right-wing voices who has done so. So, credit where due.
He's very much like Pat Buchanan. He's taken the same kind of evolutionary thing where Pat Buchanan went from being, standard Nixon Republican, and Tucker went from being a CIA father or whatever to whatever he is now. And he certainly, they could all be disinfo agents. But I think that certainly in Latin America, we're familiar with that. I mean, how America's been doing that forever. Yeah. They're just going back to their roots.
40 years.
But at this level, bombing these boats right now, right? This is some serious stuff.
Are they still bombing the boats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
80 people killed now.
What?
This is the shit that makes me shake my fucking head, man. Hearing pro Tucker Carlson, pro Candace, pro Nick Fuentes. These are all goddamn PSYOP influencers, man.
That's
I'm
right.
tired of this shit.
Thank
when the
you.
hell are you guys gonna wake the fuck up, man? You guys fall for this shit every fucking time, man. I'm
I
fucking
don't.
fed up with it, man. And then, oh, well, we didn't know any better. We didn't know. Those signs have been there for years, man. Same thing with the Donald Trump. The reason I started my fucking podcast 6 years ago with no subscribers, with no one knowing who the fuck I was because no one was talking about Trump and Jeff Epstein. Every time I brought it up, I was looked at as crazy. Oh, that's a bridge too far. You're way out there, Wheezy. You're in La La Land. And now, oh my God, Trump blew Bubba. No fucking shit. I've been saying this shit for years, man, but you guys fucking fall for it. And in hearing you guys,
What's Bubba?
Tucker Carlson.
But
Tucker
you
Carlson,
really believe
that's
you
Bill
really believe
Clinton.
that he blew Bill Clinton?
That's what the
isn't it
sloppies
funny
are?
that it's
You're
not
being
Bill Clinton
literal.
blowing him. I mean, come on. It was Saturday Night
on.
Live could have written that.
Who cares? I mean, it's just such a distraction thing. Yeah.
The point, that's the point, man. It's all PSYOP central.
Of
And you
course.
guys are getting behind these freaking pundits like a Candace, a Tucker Carlson,
Okay,
PSYOP influencers.
Explain
it's
to
a
me.
fucking joke.
Explain to me the
Thank you.
downside of the most prominent right wing voices in America arguing against war. Go, tell me why.
Wow.
I'll tell you the downside to it. It's all a goddamn PSYOP. That's how. Let's go back to 2000 when September 11. Who was the loudest anti-war voices at that point in time? The goddamn left.
Yeah.
They were anti-war. They were anti-censorship. Look where we're at now. So every time you fall for this left-right bullshit, the pendulum's constantly swinging, man. This whole thing of gravitating to the right side of things just because they're on the right side of history at this moment in time doesn't mean they're going to be on the right side of history 10 years from now.
Yeah, but
And you guys keep
it's
falling
When you
for it.
cross that,
It's
it's
a little
hold
different.
them accountable.
Well,
Wait, it's a little different.
I have no disagreement
Simple
with
as
that,
that.
but that's because it's about principles. Like, if your principles are better reflected by Democrat politicians, which they were in the mid 2000s, then okay, then I think it's prudent to at least say, hey, I agree with what that guy's saying. I'm not saying that you have to like go Tucker Carlson's our savior or Candace Owens is our savior, but I'm saying it's a fucking great thing.
Well, I think what he's
20
saying
million
is they're
people listening to these
chosen.
people. We've got 20 million people listening to these guys every week or every month, and they're all like they're adamantly opposed to the war in Gaza. They're adamantly opposed to the war in Venezuela. That's a positive thing. I don't understand.
Yeah, but what else is Nick Fuentes pushing? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's good that we get ICE in this so we can round up all these illegals and pushing biometric IDs.
Yeah, but we don't.
That's a
have to-
downside.
Nick,
Would you
that's
agree
Laura
that's a
Lumen,
downside?
and Nick Fuentes has pushed for war with Venezuela. He said point blank that it would be in our best interest to actually have regime change in Venezuela. And that's what Nick Fuentes has said before in the past.
But
I don't know if he
he's
said
he's
that
wrong
recently.
about that.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about specifically Tucker and Candace, which was what was brought up as
can I
being
add?
a
Guys,
huge
you
mistake.
don't have to. I don't understand how and this is what Clint always says. Like, is it a net positive? I agree with him. Like, so we talk about one thing that maybe they're saying or doing that might be good, right? They're planting that seed, they're sparking that conversation, and then you're like, well, how about we ignore the fact that that's doing some good, and we talk about that thing that they're wrong about? Okay, nobody's arguing that they're wrong about things. We're just saying that if they're doing some good, why can't we highlight it and say that, hey, they're sparking the conversation? Now, I don't know if they're if they're being used in one way or whatever. I just know that Tucker Carlson talking about 9/11. There's a lot of normies that are now talking about 9/11 because of it. Other, big names talking about vaccines, talking about what have been taboo and fringe topics for a really long time. Normies are now talking about it. Now, what was the fringe is now slowly becoming not the fringe, and they're becoming mainstream conversations. Now, to say like, oh, but he's wrong about this. Okay, what's your point though? Okay, nobody's arguing that name one thing that he's wrong about that somebody is saying is a good thing. Like, we're not saying that that he's right on everything. I mean, I think I've had the guy who translated Alexander Dugin's book into English, who got banned in Canada, Professor Michael Millerman, really fascinating guy. I got really intrigued with Alexander Dugin's work. I don't agree with everything he says, but I find him fascinating. I don't think he should be censored, and just because I agree with some of his worldviews doesn't mean I agree with everything, and I shouldn't be pigeonholed as an Alexander Dugin supporter who also enforces this crazy point of view he might have. Because
Isn't he a Satanist? Isn't there a video out there with him
Can
going?
I add to that? I'd like to
Let
add to
Miriam
that.
talk. Yeah, sorry.
I'd like to add to it's nuanced, and it's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's about acknowledging that these people have been chosen as the talking heads that are allowed, and one has to learn how to decipher the tries, the truth mixed with lies, or the truth. I mean, that's why I used to watch Tim Pool, because he seeds the narrative, but he throws in a couple of things. And I can tell you that I brought my
Yeah, I would be more suspicious of Tim Pool than these other guys. And that guy came out of nowhere. He was Occupy Wall Street, and he was suddenly named one of the top 100 young influencers by Time Magazine or something. You don't get that way accidentally. I mean,
And
I think we need
there's one more to question with him.
Yeah.
And
But
Tim Pool
Mr.
doesn't
Jeffries,
talk-
I think what we need to talk about is the antidote, which we're all not talking about. And this is why it's important to be principled in what's right and what's wrong, right? Right now, we don't know what we see with the views is real or not. We're not behind there right now. They're lifting people's voices up that they want to lift up. They're suppressing voices that are a threat to them. We should be pushing for the antidote, which is transparency across the board. And we don't have that. What's
I
going
don't
on
agree
on
with
Twitter,
that,
right?
though.
How do we know that these people are really legitimately getting all these millions of views? I have a hard time believing that Nick Sorter, his reporting is worthy of millions and millions of views every single time. I mean, the guy kind of talks on a ninth grade level.
Mr. Lex Friedman, Mr. Excitement. How does he possibly have this kind
Listen,
of views?
Dr. Robert Epstein has stated nothing goes viral unless they want it to go viral. You can slip through the cracks.
Yes,
I have.
that's true.
I mean, I had a video go 5.6 million until they shut it the fuck down, and you weren't even able to tag Miriam on Instagram, or after Sam's show when I go do a live and it's a black screen. So your point, Pasta, is like it's not a leveled playing field, and certain people are amplified. And just to know that you could still like watch Candace, and I don't watch Candace, but I watch Tucker and listen to things, knowing, oh, your father was in intelligence, at least to know, to be educated in the way you're watching and imbibing the news.
I think is what's a very good place to be is to listen to information. And if you're savvy enough, and not everybody is, obviously, to understand that, okay, I think he's on to something or off of something. But if there comes a time where it's a mask off situation, you just got to walk away from them. I think that's important. I think, again, if you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater on all things, like Tucker Carlson is doing a show on the Kabbalah while he has a Kabbalah wristband on his. He's like, what is this? Kabbalah, and it's like, well, why are you wearing the wristband, dude? And
he says it's a rubber band from his dad's newspaper days. But anyways,
yeah.
I did want to say, just to kind of round out my point here, who were the top 3 right-wing voices 10 to 20 years ago? Would have been like Ben Shapiro, probably Limbaugh, Mark Levin, Sean Hannity. Like these are fucking disastrous people. And then now today in the top 10 of news podcasts in America, according to Spotify, you got Dave Smith, Candace Owens, and fucking Tucker Carlson. If you can't acknowledge that's an improvement, I just feel like you're being really unfair. Like that's such a huge.
Nobody's saying it's not an improvement. We're just still saying that what Dr. Epstein said. Nobody's getting elevated unless it's meant for a purpose. They have more control of what's going on nowadays.
I don't know.
That's all they're saying.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. I think this is Wheezy. I totally appreciate what you're saying. It's just hard for me to accept that everything is a psyop because it's too complex. I mean, I don't think they have the capability to do the psyops that you're talking about. I mean, the sort of the left had control of institutions, control of the media, control of everything for pretty much decades. So that's why it feels a little different right now.
Like you
the
think
one thing I'll say about
a
Dave
Jewish guy like Dave Smith to be a top 10 news podcaster in America, a Jewish guy who's anti-Zionist, you think that's part of their plan?
Well,
I just don't buy
I can
that.
say about Dave Smith is like, I know that guy on a very personal level.
Me too.
And I've watched his explosion. He's a great speaker, and he came up on this insane show called Legion of Skanks. And he'd been doing politics for a while, and the right topic popped up, and that, because let's face it, there was a time you couldn't criticize Jews, so it took a Jew to criticize a Jew, and then the doors kind of opened, and he stepped right into it. And there is still something about if you're arguing at a Zionist, about Israel. When you're Jewish, it's a lot harder for them to yell
Max Blumenthal.
anti-Semitic.
Max Blumenthal wrote books about this before we even heard David Levin's voice. You know what I'm saying?
No,
there are a lot of
and
people out
he's
there.
been
but
elevated. He's doing great too. He's just not the when Dave Smith, and the same thing with Rogan. Like I've known Rogan for 25 years. I've been through every step. I mean, he already done news radio. I was right there when he started doing Fear Factor. Like, I've known this guy on a very personal level for a long time. The guy's the face of two things that didn't exist before, which is podcasting and the UFC. They weren't around 30 years ago. So he's the face of both of those. Dave Smith is like, he's where he's at because he's incredibly fast. Like, I've done panels with him where that guy just says stuff like it's like instant, like well thought out thoughts that I'm like, that's fast, bro. And then because he's willing to at the time talk about a subject that a lot of people were afraid of because he was Jewish, he was allowed to by a lot of people. It just caught fire, and he deserves everything he gets. Even though I did a panel with him last night and I sat all the way on the other end because we were in a big open space and I just didn't want to be near anything. That was a joke, but the point is, I mean, some of these guys I've seen, I see their rise, and I think it's a little bit more organic than some. I'm not saying Project Mockingbird isn't going full-fledged, but I don't know if every one of them is. But again, it's like you can tell someone's character by the fruits they bear. It's like if they just go completely opposite of what made them huge, they're going to lose their entire following, which is exactly what happened to Ben Shapiro. There's no one more astroturfed than Ben Shapiro. I mean, just shoved down our throats and
for 10 years.
The Daily Wire bought all those ads on YouTube, and that's why he was on the face of everything. And now the Daily Wire is just struggling. They're not buying ads, and nobody's watching him. But that is the best example because he used to be fighting for free speech and anti-cancel culture, and then a topic that he cared about came out, and he completely went 180, and it's cost him his following. So that's my opinion.
My experience is the exact same as yours, Sam, because you were friends with Rogan before he became, the biggest name. And I was friends with Dave for, 4 or 5 years now. So I got to see him on his ascendancy, and he hasn't changed at all. He's still constantly trying to uplift people, including myself. And this is why it's really hard for me to imagine, like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very hard for me to imagine that Tucker Carlson is like purely controlled op because there's such an aggressive attempt to cancel him right now, and not just cancel him, but anybody that's affiliated with him, particularly because I think he's off the reservation. He's been having multi-hour conversations with Scott Horton. What part of the fucking like psyop is that you want millions of people? Can I say something about that? Scott Horton or Dave Smith?
Clint, it could not, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a psyop. It can be a useful idiot. At the end of the day, and not bashing on Dave, I'm very happy that Dave came out and apologized for his support of Donald Trump, but he did still support Donald Trump. And he could be pegged as a useful idiot. There's a lot of useful idiots out there that will play the team sports mentality. The ruling class and social engineers, they know who to back. They don't back anybody by mistake.
No, but this is the point. Yeah. This is the point. As Trump has been fumbling along here, it's healthy that all these people have been disavowing him. They're like, I don't like what he's doing. They're arguing against him.
And they'd still vote for him tomorrow. Candace said the other day, I don't regret voting for Donald Trump, especially for the options we had. If anybody's still selling you the lesser of two evils, they're either a useful idiot or a paid propagandist at this point, or they're, like I said, they're just dealing with a lot of
him out. I don't care what he's going to do. I don't care what they're going to do in 3 years. Right now, they're holding his feet to the fire, and that's what's healthy about what
they're not holding his feet to the fire. If they're staying, they would vote for him today. They're still selling him as the lesser of two evils. Candace Owens said the other day, I don't regret not voting for him.
That's not today.
Well, I mean, because they're comparing that to who he's running against. And
yeah, you can't.
That's why, I mean, like I mean, listen, if you're saying it's the lesser of two evils, that's who the system put up. I didn't vote for either of them, because I've been in the game a little longer than a lot of the people that, Candace Owens always been doing politics, but this kind of area she's into is new. But I guess some people can't understand. I understand what you're saying. I think the majority will go today. If we had the election again, I think Trump would win again.
Yeah,
because Candace Owens is just pure garbage. I would love, because all I'm hearing are these people running back and forth between these two garbage parties. We need even if let's just say voting's real, which I am now fully out on. I don't think it's real. I wanted to believe it's real because I thought it would give us a little hope, but based on these people that are winning these elections, whether it's Mondani or fucking the chick in Seattle, and before, it's not Muslim. I've just seen Mondani's policies in San Francisco. We've seen those applied. It's disastrous, and it's just what it is. But these people that have no reason to be winning these elections are winning these elections. It makes no fucking sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense because once again, they're rejecting the capitalist system. What they see is the capitalist system failing them. Our generation can't buy houses. We can't even put food on the table half the time. We can't pay our bills. So they're rejecting capitalism. It's more of a economics move. It's the economy, stupid, right? That book. That's what it is. It's coming back to that again. And I think what I'm trying to say though is that if anybody we should be rejecting the system as itself. There's not an iota of difference between AOC and Donald Trump when it comes to policy. When it comes to supporting the empire, they are both
I agree
there.
on that.
And we have to see that for what it is.
Explain to me the positive of getting 20 million dissidents to stay home. Like, explain to me how that changes the system, that you say you get your way and you convince the Dave Smiths and the me's of the world to not cast our lesser of two evils votes when we've negotiated via the LP chair to get one of our people freed from prison. Like, explain to me why it's a positive that all of the libertarians just say we're not voting because we don't do the lesser of two evils thing. Like, what the
libertarian should have voted for the libertarian, right? I voted for Chase Oliver. I'm not a libertarian, and my motto was Chase Oliver. At least he's not a Zionist, right? I mean, that's why you should vote for the guy. That alone.
Terrible.
I mean,
the whole point of the lesser of two evils
is to reject the two-party duopoly.
Lesser of three evils.
Does that come the lesser of three evils? If you're voting for a guy who, if you're a libertarian, what that guy was pushing was all these super progressive
he
points,
was a race Marxist,
not the
just
progressive
like the left.
where we're saying we're anti-capitalism. I'm talking progressives of trans women spaces, COVID shots, all this stuff that this guy was running on.
He wasn't pushing COVID shots. He wore a mask on Thanksgiving once before. Listen, I don't want to get back in debating this right now and arguing that. At the end of the day, he wasn't part of the two-party duopoly. He wasn't part of the machine.
But he did have positions that weren't libertarian, for sure.
But most of his positions were libertarian. When it came to the whole drag queen thing, it was like it's up to the parents to decide what they want to do. And that's a libertarian point of view. Is it not?
Well, no, it's not actually. But it's also certainly not a libertarian point of view to say that you can transition children, which he also supported. So, look, there's a real reason that the libertarians,
when they need a hero, will supply
didn't vote
That's
for him.
what I think is going to happen every time someone gets close to this.
And the left is the reason why Mondani won that election is because assuming again, like Sam said, that they count the votes, which I don't assume, but let's hypothetically assume they're counting the votes honestly. When that debate, when they asked all the other crazy candidates, what country are you going to go to first? I mean, it was obvious there was no other country. They couldn't shout Israel loud enough with each other, and he gave the perfect answer. I'm going to stay here in New York and serve the people in New York. What better answer can you give than that? You have to have an answer to the left. Tucker Carlson has said that for years. He used to have conservative guests on his show, and he said, well, when they talk about the marketplace or entrepreneurship or all that nonsense, and it is nonsense because it's a rigged economy. My book, Survival of the Richest, read that. You'll see how rigged it is. But, when you have this, you have to have some answer. All those young people, if you dangle out universal basic income to them, and they know they can't get a good job, it's almost impossible for them to do that. Why wouldn't they take that? You have to have something to compete with that. And that's what Tucker Carlson has been saying. That's what we all should say. If you're going to be on the right, and Trump's phony populist rhetoric was a possible answer to that. He never lived up to that. Bring back industry. Scrap the crazy trade deals. Build factories. Let's, he didn't say bring back unions, but we need strong unions because they had strong wages. That's the answer to it, because otherwise people are they're already indoctrinated in school. You got half of high schools now are transitioning thanks to Hollywood. It's hard to stop that. But
that's the big problem, though, is that you're saying you have to contend with the left's argument or their offer. But like, if the offer is UBI, it's not that you can compete with that, because you really can't. You can't compete with saying, I'm going to give you $5,000 for free every month. You can only compete with it with education. You can only compete with it by explaining the central banking and inflation process and how it'll ultimately destroy their way of living. But it's like, can you actually make that argument to someone who's never been able to afford a house and they're in their mid 30s or their 40s for that matter? It's like, no, you can't. So it's a huge fucking problem. It is.
To me, the fascinating thing is seeing a lot of these people on the populist right scream about Sharia law with Mandami, but trying to ignoring the fact that they had Giuliani in the White House, who is actually a guy who posed on the internet with the severed heads chopped off. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean,
Kamala Harris or Joe Biden had Giuliani in the White House. Forget about it. The conservatives wanted to shut the fuck up. It would have been ridiculous.
No, you're totally right. I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I mean,
all
Jelani's
these
responsible for
motherfuckers
killing-
is selected, not elected, man.
I am down with that. I gotta go, guys. I love everybody. Craig, I love you. I love you.
Sammy, I love you, buddy.
I love you.
Hey,
Bye,
Sammy,
guys.
just really quick, a little point of knowledge before you leave. Guess what Russian leader built the most churches in Russia?
I'm telling you, bro.
Colin,
I'm telling
have
you,
a nice
it's
day.
A fucking game.
Colin,
it's a game, dude.
have a nice
it's
day.
A game.
But I
Have
love
a
your
great
joke
day.
when you sit down and you go, "Hey, I'm Armenian. We had a real genocide." That's the best.
Did Pastor just say he supports Stalin? I mean, I think you said you just like Stalin, right?
I
No,
love
I
you
said
guys.
Stalin
Bye.
built more churches in Russia than any other Russian leader.
I'm just kidding. It's an inside joke about Fuentes. So.
Yeah, Fuentes
I
said
missed
he
it. I'm
admires
sorry.
Stalin.
Went over my head.
Yeah, and by the way, Fuentes is fucking wrong about Latin America and basically the whole Monroe Doctrine thing. But he's an authoritarian right winger. Like he's going to have a lot of shitty opinions. I'm specifically arguing about.
Fuentes is a perfect example of somebody that looks like he was installed. He was 16 years old, and some rich guy gave him all kinds of money. Same thing with Charlie Kirk. Rich guys gave him all this money. I mean, that doesn't happen to the average 16, 18-year-old person without connections. So that I definitely, Weezy is right. Most all of these people are installed. But I just think if any of us get big enough platforms, they could say that about us. And we probably would be, because somebody would probably have to give us money and buy us a bunch of followers.
But they won't let you. That's the thing. It's not a fair playing ground. I
already have people on this panel thinking that about me just because I have 250,000 followers on X. So it's happening.
I thought you were a useful idiot, not a paid propagandist. You're wrong.
I still love you, Clint. I still love you, Clint. I'll follow you on Twitter, Clint. Don't worry.
All right. Appreciate it, man. just to keep me in check, right? Yeah, look, I mean, I still don't regret doing what I did when it came to November of last year. I obviously think that Trump's a piece of shit, but I still think it has been a tremendous blessing to the right wing to have, like, the entire allure of him, the myth of Donald Trump is being eviscerated right in front of us, particularly because of his defense or the cover-up of the Epstein files. I mean, there is not a real deal OG MAGA, like day one voter that loved Trump that didn't want those fucking Epstein files released. And I'm telling you that he is hemorrhaging support, and it is all flying over to the libertarian right. My audience is exploding because of it, because I'm actually telling the truth about it, which is a positive. Maybe not to you anymore, Craig, but I think it's still a positive that, like, these people are waking up. They're recognizing that, yeah, our political establishment is owned. Like, I don't know if Donald Trump was ever a real boy. He's clearly not anymore. But it's like, that's a good thing, because had he lost, one, I think Kamala Harris would have been a disaster, and there's a distinct possibility it would have ended up in World War III. But two, I think that it's really healthy to have the right wing now acknowledging that, like, yeah, we've got a real fucking problem. Like, our chosen guy, the guy we put all of our faith in, that we believed to the end of the earth, that we were ready to go for war for, is owned by a foreign government. That's powerful.
All by design. If you didn't know that,
can I say something?
Israeli cock before he got into power. Come on.
Yeah, can I say something about that? Because
wait, how is it by design to have them waking up?
I knew Trump was going to win. It's the dialectic. It's left, right, and then they demoralize in front of your face, and it's a charade.
But is that not a positive for them to be demoralized when it comes to the idolatry of Trump?
Yeah, but the thing is, you're gonna hang on to the next quote unquote Messiah or Savior. Right now, who's getting propped up right now? MTG and Massey. They are our saviors because they're going against Trump. The popular Trump. That's all I'm hearing from the narrative. I pay attention to the mainstream narrative. Don't get me wrong. I listen to it all the goddamn day. I'm a garbage man. I work for 12, 14-hour days. I'm listening to NPR. I'm listening to all these goddamn outlets. I don't believe a goddamn fucking thing I hear. but you do.
Good for you, Weezy. Good for you.
It's all bullshit, man. You got MTG going to the Nick Fuentes rally. She's supporting all this other bullshit, man. It's PSYOP influencer central. Trump is Kate. I mean, it's been awesome to see the Twitter White House feed just get ratioed the last week. Constantly, man. You're seeing Trump sucking Bill Clinton's dick memes all over up and down the Twitter feed. It's been hilarious. It's been awesome. But the thing is, most of these people that are making fun of Trump now, that were once on the Trump train, that were once proudly voting for Trump, they're going to prop up the next savior, whether it's Margaret Taylor Greene or fucking Massey, and they're going to clasp onto them. That's going to be our hero. That's going to be you guys are always waiting for a goddamn hero. There ain't no goddamn hero coming out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or they're going to, or the left is going to do what they normally
hero.
do, right? The left is going to come into play. He's going to be so bad.
Ro Khanna.
Like George Bush. Here comes Handsome Newsom right now. And who's he connected to, right? These Pritzker families, these
not
old
only Newsom.
oligarchs for quite some time. You know, well, Clint, I got to just say that
there's
this
going to
much.
be another president. It's legit to question whether there'll be another president. Where will we be in 2020?
What did Trump say? You don't have to vote anymore. I'm going to be the last president.
That's right.
Yeah. What's
He
the
pretty much
disappointing?
fucking said that no one made a big deal out of that statement. Like, what the fuck? What was he talking about when he
Because
said
people
that?
are going for that. I've seen people with him like 48 hats. Like they want him to. Like I went to a Republican
Bannon
assembly
pushes
thing.
that hard.
Yeah, they're pushing for him. But you know, Clint, the thing that's a little bit disappointing too, as well, and that's I'm just still trying when it comes to our situation that you don't regret. I'm just still trying to mend a broken heart. It was
I understand.
I put a lot of like I said in all kindness and stuff like that, not to butt heads with you, but I put a lot of it. I invested some time going to the Libertarian Party, bringing people over. Obviously,
So
my
did I,
connection
dude.
with
I
Jimmy
ran
Dore
for
and-
fucking VP.
Yeah.
You think
and
I
let me
didn't
tell
have
you
the
something.
commitment?
But what's upsetting to me, Clint, though, is that you're still saying this whole kind of thing. If Kamala got in, it would be worse. We might have been in World War III. No, Donald Trump got in because he was meant to get in. This is how they play the game. Nothing happens by accident. And we have to realize that that's going on.
That's where
and we have
disagree,
to pay
though.
attention to their next move. And the antidote to this, once again, is transparency across the board. Let us see everything. Let us touch everything. Let us know everything. Not just what they tell us. That's the most important thing.
I totally agree.
I agree with
that.
you, Pasta. The problem is we're never going to get transparency.
Yeah, that's also the problem.
I said this to Clint a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. I go, how long has it been for the JFK files? I covered the Lincoln assassination. There's still classified files from the Lincoln assassination from 160 years ago.
Crazy.
If they still got classified files from 160 years ago, are we ever going to get any goddamn truth? Fuck no.
Yeah.
And I hate
but
to
that
break it
doesn't
to y'all.
mean we shouldn't stop screaming for it.
Yeah.
You can scream all you want. You ain't going to get it, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's
Or
probably
you
true.
will get it, and it'll be hidden, just like my book. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening. Is that the bill from Massey is going to pass tomorrow, potentially unanimously. And then they're going to reopen the investigation, make this purely partisan, try and attack all of the Democrat people that were participants in the Epstein operation. But because it'll be an open case, then they'll say, well, we can't disclose these files because it's an open case, which will totally undermine Massey's efforts. So, it is what it is.
It's all going to be
it's a
theatrics,
very complicated game.
It's all theatrics. The biggest thing with
it's very complicated.
The thing with the Trump Epstein shit that very few people have ever talked about. Last year, we had a hurricane out here in Southwest Florida. We went over to Miami to escape the impact. After the hurricane had passed over, I wanted to go to Mar-a-Lago because I had heard often that Trump and Epstein were neighbors. They didn't live too far away from each other. So I wanted to verify that for myself. I'm like, I want to go to Mar-a-Lago. I want to go to Epstein's place. I took that drive. It's a 25-minute walk. When you realize how close Epstein and Donald Trump were as friends, and then you realize it's a 25-minute walk from each other. This whole bullshit, oh, well, Trump probably didn't know. Oh, everyone rubs shoulders. It's a fucking crock of shit, man. They were next door neighbors, essentially. And so this is what drives me nuts. I'm a garbage man, bro. I don't do podcasts for a goddamn living. I pick up fucking dirty ass garbage bags. I smell like shit at the end of a fucking day. I came home. I told Charlie, I just took a shower because I smell like fucking garbage and filth. and I got ready for this podcast. I do this shit for a passion. I don't make no motherfucking money off of this. And what drives me crazy is how the fuck did I see this about Trump many years ago and y'all couldn't see it? All these pundits that make $100,000 salaries and $1 million salaries, they couldn't see it. Get the fuck out of here. Of course, everyone saw it, man. It's psyop after psyop, man. And so when it comes to this Epstein files, I'll shut up.
Can we talk about Three Eye Atlas? Can we get off the Trump train for a moment? Do you guys have thoughts on Three Eye Atlas?
I'm gonna go because I gotta wake up at 3 a.m. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Hey,
Much
Wheezy.
love, hugs, and kisses.
Wheezy, before you go, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can get your podcast, where they can check out what you're
just so
serving
you
up.
know, if you subscribe to Wheezy's channel, I'm gonna immediately start calling him a psyop. So don't do it.
That'll give me more subs, man. That'll be an endorsement, bro. I'll clip that.
I want all Clint's listeners to go listen to Wheezy. I hate listening to Wheezy as well. Go and give him 5 stars too. Show him who's boss. Let's all play. Let's work together.
Yeah, no, you can just search What Is Truth podcast. I'm a garbage man. I do this show because I have a passion for this. I don't try to make no goddamn money off of it. This is what I love. I appreciate you inviting me, Charlie and Ricky. You guys are awesome. And everyone on the panel, thank you guys.
Sure, bro.
Much love. I got to wake up at 3 a.m, so I got to
get to
bounce.
bed.
Let you go.
All right, y'all.
All right, thanks, bro. Good to see you.
No, it's inspiring hearing all this banter about the States because we really don't have this in Canada or in Europe or the UK, as it seems like the West falls. I feel like we're just siloed right now in Canada. We're stuck just following along with that.
Do you not debate it in Canada just because you've all given up hope?
There isn't really another side in Canada that has any.
They're euthanizing children in Canada. Yeah, they've given up hope.
Killing ostriches.
The other side is like center, and they say they're conservatives, but really they just get labeled like Maple MAGA, and then everybody just thinks they're
MAGA.
They're Nazis.
It's just gross, right? It's kind of
Charlie, I got to run too, brother.
like
I
Weezy
appreciate you
says, it's
inviting
kind of
me.
a control.
Don, again, before you go, talk about iProtest, where people can find it and where they can support your work and buy your books.
Substack is the only place I'm not being shadow banned. Donald Jeffries at Substack.com. It's iProtest, just like my podcast. My 10 books are out there. The latest one's American Memory Hole. You search for me, you'll find out more than you want to know, probably.
Thank you, Don. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
We got to put a link, Don, to have people buy you this microphone here. It's $200.
Yeah.
It's
Tony just bought me. Tony Harlan just bought me one. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I just
don't
talked to
know.
Tony about it, so I know there's something. It's Don's computer. It's not the microphones or
I
something
don't know
deeper.
what it
But
Put a
we'll
link for a new laptop for Don. He deserves
we'll
it.
figure it out. Don Jeffries, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, guys, thanks. Take care, guys.
Good to see you, Don. Yeah. I republish iProtest articles, his Substack over at Activist Post all the time. He goes so hard in the paint. It's refreshing. I like it. So check it out.
Man, that Wheezy guy got a lot of passion, all right. You guys say you guys were similar. We're passionate. I didn't realize I was that passionate, man.
That's great. It's beautiful. A beautiful thing. It's taking out the garbage in many ways.
I get it. And when Steve is on, Steve comes at it from the same angle too. It's like Wheezy and Steve hold themselves to very high standards when it comes to like sorting through information and shit like that. Like they're really honestly looking for the truth about it. And they expect everybody else to be like that too. And so when you see somebody that you know is falling short, like a Tucker Carlson who's giving you 70% of the message, it's frustrating because you want them to be as committed to every detail of the truth as you are, and you know they're not. But then I see Clint, and I get Clint's point on this, which is take the 70%. Lucky we're fucking getting that. You know what I mean? In a world
We used to
where
get 10.
you know what I mean? Yeah, take what you can get, whatever that is. You know, is it perfect? No. Do we consider Massey Marjorie Taylor Greene a savior? Of course not. Why nobody would ever propose that? Are they better? Yes. Will you take better? Yeah. Is it good enough? No, never good enough. It's never good enough. But
if it's a ticket of Massey and MTG, like it's going to be. I can't wait if that happens to come back on the show and have everyone tell me that I'm such a fucking idiot to support that ticket. But I'm telling you right now, if there's a chance that Thomas Massey could be the president of the United States, I'm gonna fucking do everything in my power to get him in there. Now, does that mean he's gonna fix everything? No, it doesn't. Does it mean he's my savior? That I think he's my savior? No, I don't. I don't think any one person has the capacity to actually reform this fucking shit show. But Thomas Massey is like as good a person as I've encountered in politics since Ron Paul. Like he's that fucking good. So yeah, I mean, just prepare yourself. I'm telling you right now, I will do it.
I think you need to do something better, which is get back into your party that you kind of walked away from. I don't know if you're still there. And fight to have somebody like Judge Napolitano run, who's got libertarian roots.
That'd be great.
Get Judge Nap to run with Daniel McAdams, something like that. Really, to tell you the truth, you have the infrastructure there. That's why it was so disheartening to me. It's because the infrastructure is there. It just took some shaking hands and kissing babies.
It's like you've held me personally responsible, despite the fact that I specifically ran against Chase Oliver because I knew that he would destroy the party, and he beat me 51-49. And then when I was like, I'm not going to vote for the fucking guy I lost to because the dude sucks at life, and you're like, fuck you, Clint. I can't believe you would abandon the party. It's like the party fucking abandoned me.
Well,
man.
you didn't run against Chase. You run against Michael Termat or whatever his name was and stuff like that.
But it was the same thing.
I mean, that's who you did run against. But once again, from my personal observation, I don't want to make this about the Libertarian, party, but from what I witnessed right there, and from what I saw, is that there was a bunch of people who were either voting for the Mises or against the Mises, and that's just going to just take some work. And really, to tell you the truth, I think that throwing out the baby with the bathwater and walking away from it rather than walking over, shaking hands and saying, hey, all right, we're going to get your back this time. Let's go, and building a movement moving forward. That's what was not done. And that's what I saw happen in front of my very own eyes.
If you think that Chase Oliver would have walked over and shake my hand, considering the fact that they think I'm some sort of fucking like racist white nationalist or something, like there is no seeing eye to eye with a progressive
not
libertarian.
With them, but for the people who voted for Chase
way.
Oliver and some of those people right now, those people could have been won over. Now they're gone. Now it's done. That Civil War just went too much. And the people from the outside who were going to support the Libertarian Party, you know what I'm saying? They're gone now too. They're out. They're like, no way. You know what I'm saying? The reason why we chose the Libertarian Party over the Green Party is because you guys had principles. Now you're going to walk away from it. So now, I mean, I think it's just too.
No, but that's the problem, is that you're thinking that Chase Oliver carries on my principles. He does not. I don't believe in transitioning children. It's not Chase I'm concerned about.
It's people who voted for Chase that would have eventually voted for you down the road in the next election.
Because I didn't vote for Chase Oliver. I didn't vote for Chase Oliver because he doesn't represent my principles. That's as simple as it gets.
Does Donald Trump represent your principles?
No, but he was actually going to achieve power. So if I have to choose between a purely principled candidate, which if Ron Paul was fucking running or Dave Smith was running, I would have absolutely voted for them. But if it's Chase Oliver and he's talking about trans and kids, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to waste my vote on a progressive lefty in the Libertarian Party. I'm just not going to do it.
And I got you. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to, we can have this conversation off camera, or if you ever want to come back on my show, if you take my phone calls again, then we can talk about it. But you know what I'm saying? Right. We shouldn't pull this into the union unwanted. I have some.
Are you an Aries? Are you an Aries?
I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo,
No,
but
I'm the Aries.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, she guessed it. There you go. No, I thought it was a worthwhile discussion because I understand the need for a third party, but I also understand, I think as well as you do, how unbelievably built into the cake or built into the system it is that the third parties are like the reason that they even allow for it is because they already know it's been nullified. That is just it's a complete impossibility for us to actually prevail going that route. So it's a major conundrum. I'm not saying that I don't want a viable third party. I would love one. I would love 3, 4, 5 options, but that's not how it's structured right now. It's a real nightmare.
Well, you could
get this conversation for another day.
You could get a right-wing party in Germany, and then they could just make your party go away.
Yeah, label you Nazis and put you in a gulag.
Yeah, shut down your bank accounts and do all those things.
I think people, Charlie, too, really quickly
don't make a difference either.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Graham.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say just the latest news too for people to watch out right now. What's going on in Mexico is being really twisted and distorted. You know what I'm saying? This is once again about what the AMLO parties did, which was the Moreno party, which broke 120 years of the two-party duopoly there. Speaking of third parties, that party. And now Claudia Sheinbaum has kind of carried that on. But for so many years, the intelligence apparatus of America and Mexico have been tied to each other, and it's really hard to shake this. But right now, what they're trying to do, they're attempting to make, and like Alex Jones, what he said, his whole comment on this, it's completely the opposite. Like she will not give up the lithium. They nationalize that lithium. They're going to make sure that that national sovereignty and those national resources stay within the confines of Mexican people. Right. And that's what America doesn't want. That's why they're kind of pulling this whole narco-terrorist kind of thing with the cartels. The cartels are attached at the hip with the CIA. They've been that way for quite some time. We know this from Iran-Contra. So there's a lot of lies going on in Mexico right now, and a lot of people on the right are kind of twisting this thing.
But do you think that and I agree with your analysis, by the way, but do you think that Scheinbaum is like a for real like leader of her people? That she's not also controlled?
No. I mean, I think she has a lot to deal with within that country, but she's not like a puppet of the left and whatnot. No, that's not true at all.
Because
not at all. Not at all. Now, listen, there is a blind side, just like there's a blind side with Lula when it comes to vaccinations, right? Yeah. He's a vaccine salesman, and he's terrible about that. But Lula, Claudia Sheinbaum, AMLO, a lot of these other leaders on the left, right? They're economically left. They're not cultural Marxism, wherever Sam Tripoli is and stuff like that. They put themselves on the side of the people and the poor, right? And that's why they obtain power. Claudia Sheinbaum's got a lot to deal with when it comes to her country, but she will not give in to BlackRock. She will not give in to State Street and all these other companies that want to come in and they want to take that lithium.
Well, I'll tell you why I asked the question, because there's dozens and dozens of political assassinations in Mexico during that last election cycle, and I just don't believe that you become the president of Mexico without without being killed if you're the real deal. It's just hard for me to believe. That's all.
That's a weird metrics to kind of, like the fact that she was able to stay alive, the fact that AMLO was able to stay alive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there are political assassinations that happen. It's not that we're not the only, the Mexico's not the only place, but
they had a lot, dude. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah. I understand. There's a lot in the Philippines too, as well. That's another country that has a lot of political assassinations and stuff like that. But Claudia Sheinbaum, she put herself on the side of the poor the way AMLO did, and this is these presidents, they address their nation every single day and they nationalize that lithium,
Sorry, that's all I have to say about Mexico. Sorry.
It was Derek Bros is down there reporting on it if people are interested, the Conscious Resistance Network.
Oh, Derek's down there. Cool.
Yeah, he's down there. He's down there.
I wish him well. It's probably dangerous.
He's saying there's no revolution.
No.
Oh, interesting. Well, then I take it back.
People are going to the mall. Yeah, they're trying to twist this thing. They're going to the mall. They're having a good time. No, not at all.
Yeah.
So
good time for me to plug Anarchapulco 2026, Puerto Vallarta this year, February 15th through the 20th.
I'll just tell you my gut instinct when I saw the first videos of the alleged riots or whatever. I was like, oh, color revolution. Like that was like,
oh yeah, 1,000,000%.
Instantaneously,
NGOs,
I was like, color revolution,
pumping money. And that's the thing. It's a falsehood to believe that USAID is kind of USAID has always been the PR firm for regime change around the globe, right? So a lot of the people, the anti-woke people, took in this whole thing when Doge came along. Oh, they canceled this. The gender affirmation in Zimbabwe is gone. The women's school in Afghanistan is gone. But we saw with Senator Scott Perry, who talked about this, there was never a school built. It's just the CIA using USAID to do what? Fund radical Islam, whether it be Boko Haram, ISIS, whatnot, because to present the solution, you must first have a problem. And that's what they do. They create the problem and then give you the solution. And that solution usually is regime change. Let's get this guy out there and get our person in.
But this is a perfect example of the bait and switch of the Trump campaign, which was really brilliantly structured. He campaigned on and ultimately, allegedly, wrote a law or executive order to abolish USAID, but then they migrated it and they rolled it into the Department of State and they put it under Marco Rubio's purview. So it didn't actually go away. It just became more under his control. It just sucks because it's like that would be such a huge fucking win. Like if you could ever imagine getting rid of USAID, it would be such a huge win to stop the constant creation of wars all over the country or all over the world.
Yeah. But they have other NGOs, Clint, right? Whether it be the NED, the OAN, the OAS, they have other ways and other mechanisms.
I know, dude. I know. But I'm just saying it would be nice to get rid of one of them. Let's just let me have one W,
Yep. All right. Let's wrap this baby up, shall we? Wheezy left. Pasta, what are you working on? Tell everybody where they can find you and what you're working on these days.
Well, thank you for having me on, guys.
First of all, you
Ricky,
look great, man.
Thank you.
Are you
Appreciate it.
are you feeling better?
Yeah, my health guru's here in the panel with us right now. You know, I did a lot.
Dr.
Miriam did a
Mimi.
lot of work with me, helped me
Dr.
out.
Mimi.
Good.
Go to Honey
Good for you.
Collie, right? Mimi helped me out and whatnot. So you know, I'm feeling better. Definitely turned the corner, about 90% healed. But when it's something chronic, it takes a little while. But I'm still battling it, and you know, still just trying to get better. But you know, I do the Truth Wire, which is formerly the Convo Couch, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We're trying to do 3 days a week around 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. On Wednesdays, I do my call-in show called Drive Time, WBAI New York. That's a Pacifica Network radio station. They actually threw Derek Bros off. The furthest to the right or conservative or moderate that we'll have is Scott Horton, who does the Pacifica radio station in LA. And they allow me to do the WBAI in New York. It's a call-in show, my show. It's one of the best things I do. It's one of my funnest things to do. I'm so passionate about it because I have people calling in that will praise Trump. People will call in that will bash Trump. And I'll kind of question both sides to get it out there and see where they're standing. So I do the drive time show. I'm also on The Homeless Left on Thursdays, which is Matt Weinglass's show. I was on Kyle Anzalone's show today, fellow libertarian over there, who didn't vote for Trump. That's why I love him. Just kidding, Clinton. But I was on Kyle Anzalone's show. I'm going on Crosstalk tomorrow on RT. So I'm always around and about. Go to Yo Pasta on Twitter.
Fire.
Yeah. That's all I got. Thanks for having me on, guys. I always
I
appreciate
had
it.
Scott Horton on my show right after the election, and he said, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm glad that Trump won too. Scott Horton said that. All right. Liberty Lockdown's the show. Clint Russell's the name. And just so you guys know, my podcast is now the number 45 news podcast on Spotify, which means I have sold out to the man. I am a CIA psyop. I am totally insincere. I'm controlled by Tucker Carlson and the FBI and whatever. Anyways,
Useful idiot. Come on.
And I'm also a useful idiot because I decided to not vote for my arch enemy within the LP. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
We always appreciate it.
and great episode with Ian Carroll and Dave Smith. That was
Also,
great.
CIA controlled opposition.
He is a psyop, Ian Carroll. Okay.
Those are both like good friends of mine, but you know, I'll let you
Dave
guys
Smith is
feel however
awesome,
you want.
and you know I appreciate him. Ian Carroll, well,
these organic personal relationships where somebody like a Clint Russell or Sam Tripoli, who we've been friends with for a long time, and we've talked about Rogan a million times because of course everybody always thinks he's a psyop. He can't get that big unless he's a psyop. And when you have personal friends, you know, I've met Eddie Bravo multiple times. I've hung out with him. We've talked about it. Like when you talk to these guys who know these people personally and you're like, no, dude, like that was a organic growth. It completely, you know, makes everybody think like, okay, like how can that be? Because it's such a big show and everybody's a psyop. And to me, it's like there are people who fall through the cracks. And you know, Clint's killing it. I mean, his show's blown up. He's doing amazing work. It doesn't mean that everybody who gets a large platform is a psyop. It doesn't mean we can't be skeptical of people, you know, and really, you know. But
I think it's good to be skeptical, actually. But I like just to back you up. I've known Dave for 4 years. This guy is super fucking real, dude. And I was a fan of his for 5 years before that. And I watched him just trudge through, you know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 viewers. And, you know, he was the biggest libertarian podcaster in the country, and he was getting 10,000 views in 2020. Like that's how fucking irrelevant my movement was. And then now I watch him and he's doing, you know, hundreds of thousands of views per show. And that's just on YouTube. Then you got 100, you know, another couple 100,000 on Spotify, and he's making a huge difference. I mean, he has totally changed the dialogue about the war in Gaza. I wouldn't say single-handedly, but I don't think anybody's done more to change that. And it's like, that's a fucking positive. And I just really want to like, I don't know, infuse some hope into this panel. It's like everybody who reaches major audiences is obviously compromised, and I'm just like, Dave isn't. I know that for a fucking fact.
Anybody who's speaking out against that, anybody who's making a difference in that is valuable. I don't give a shit.
That's all I'm saying, man.
I've been doing
He hasn't even been there.
And I've been doing shows with Scott Horton for years, and I mean, I don't now.
Another great example. Yep.
We haven't done a show together in a while, but back in the day, he was a regular in my show. We used to talk about skateboarding. I mean, he was such a down to earth dude, and we would, you know, and at the time, I would tell people about Scott because I'm like, hey, you want to learn about geopolitics? I'm like, dude, he's your guy. I'm like, the amount of
your dude for that.
and he's been on this show too, and he's blown up. So it's like my point is like it's not impossible for somebody to. It's not to say that there's not people out there that we're being tricked into believing it happened organically, but it doesn't mean that there's not
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro,
Or that
but it doesn't mean
that new guy, that new dude they rolled out in the aftermath of Charlie
Brylan
Kirk.
Hollyhan, dude, that guy's
right.
fucking...
You see that and you go, come on, they're not even trying. But then there's others, and you think, well, you question their rise. Ian Carroll being a prime one. Maybe he's just good at TikTok. I don't know. He does talk about good stuff. He's got great hair. I'll give him that. I'm envious. But he's got a good rap, and is he controlled? I know Derek Bros went at him pretty hard for not talking about Palantir enough, but then, that's just everybody's got their own sort of purity test for like, hey, you don't talk about that. I want you to talk about that. And you're not talking about that. It's like,
right.
I don't know about that. Maybe I would talk about it if I knew it. Educate me. Some people are just kind of not.
I know Ian
level.
pretty well now personally. I'm telling you, if he's a psyop, I am screwed.
You're screwed.
Okay, fair enough. But I was just talking to him a couple hours ago.
But again, if he's reaching normies who would otherwise not be reached simply because, and he's not going to ever take it to the levels that we'd want or whatever, but if he's at least cracking their brains open a little bit.
Oh, and he is.
Got to see that as some sort of positive.
But he also pushed Trump too as well. He pushed the Maha movement and stuff. I mean, once again, we don't know. We don't know for sure what's going on, and the social engineers can definitely discover who the not the paid propagandists is, but the useful idiots are. If they're saying their tune, they can be elevated for a reason. The only antidote to this situation is complete transparency. I mean, if we don't get it, okay, but we still have to push for it. That's the only way we'll be able to find.
We're never gonna get. For real. We're never gonna get transparency.
I'll tell you one thing.
That's never gonna happen.
They made Ian Carroll into a bad motherfucker in that Chupacabra video. Did you see that?
Oh, dude, that was great.
You're just driving that big Lincoln around.
I was
burying bodies somewhere.
I wanted to go out right away and go buy some like all black
black
with
gloves.
black gloves and look. I was like,
that dude came out of nowhere. Like he had nothing beforehand, and all of a sudden, bloop, talking about stuff that people have been talking about for years.
I know, but I wonder about how much of that is TikTok, because I don't know. I never did TikTok. I didn't. I just wasn't my thing. And I see some people who really dialed in that algorithm. Or maybe it was dialed in for them. Always,
Look, I'll make this very simple for you guys. He's the best looking conspiracy theorist we've ever had. Okay, so just fucking deal with it. He's got great hair. He's got an iron jaw. He's crushing the algo because he's got a massive amount of females that watch him. Like, it's a good thing. Take the W. And also, don't trust him and call him a psyop when you want to. That's fine too. I don't care. I'm just saying he's doing good stuff.
All right, let's wrap this up. Graham, what's going on with Grimerica? How are you guys doing? What's going on with Adult Brain? What kind of new books do you have out?
Oh man, we got some. Darren did this one, Adam, Eve, and the Great Reset about ancient cataclysms. So that's on there, which is pretty cool. They're just getting back from Atlantis. We had Randall Carlson, Atlantis. They're looking for Atlantis in the Azores, so they're just back. We're going to Easter Island in March.
Are there tickets still available for that in March?
Yeah, for Easter Island. Yeah, there is.
Where can people get them?
Contactatthecabin.com. You can also find that through grimerica.ca. That's where our main podcast is. And then Grimerica Outlawed. Just speaking of censorship and all this stuff, like we got our channel back. So like Ricky and a bunch of other people, like somehow Darren reapplied for our YouTube channel that was canceled after like 4 episodes many years ago, and it's back. So
got mine back too.
There's some weird stuff going on. It seems like they're allowing more discourse, which is a good thing.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, I think.
Yeah,
Fiorella did not get her channel back, by the way. She applied for it, did not get it.
Neither did I.
Fiorella, my business partner.
He didn't get it. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
It said I was going to get an answer in 48 hours. It took them 10 days, and then I got an email saying I was back in. So plug Matt Raymer at contentsafe.co. They are doing my repopulation of my episodes slowly back there. There's like 350 of them that need to get put on YouTube, and so he's doing that. If you're somebody that needs to do something technical like that, like backlogs and backing up things like that, I would talk to Matt. Matt's been on this show at least a dozen times. I mean, whenever we have a tech show. He's one of the guys. So
He's
when
awesome.
I got my channel back, I was like, first person I messaged was Matt, like, hey, what's the strategy? And then he sort of talked about working with you, Ricky, and how you were putting yours back and the the method in which you go about doing that. Because there's a bit of a game to it, and I don't want to like get my channel back and then immediately put 3 episodes up on vaccines and have them go like ding 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 and you're gone. So
Yeah, no, he's awesome. If there's a content creator out there who is looking for somebody to sync all their channels and just make sure that they're on all as many platforms as possible, because as we know, we can't trust any of them, and you never know which one is going to be around in the next 5 years or 10 years or whatever. He's awesome. He just makes sure that that the podcasts are out there, that people can find them, that they're available somewhere out there, so you can't permanently be censored off every platform. And he's been a huge help. When I got kicked off YouTube, I wasn't stressing because he was making sure I was on Minds and BitChute and Odyssey and Band.video and all the other video platforms, Rockfin, even though that's a sinking ship. But just making sure you're on all of them. And for that reason, right? Because even Rockfin, right? Perfect example was
it was great until it wasn't.
Yeah, and Rumble, who knows? Same thing. Rumble seems to be like the permanent home for alternative media, but who knows? It cannot be. So just post everywhere and anywhere, and that's why all my stuff's open source. I've kind of adopted the James Corbett idea of like, hey, post it anywhere and everywhere. I don't care if I get the clicks or who gets the clicks.
Oh yeah,
It's about getting the conversation out there.
Yeah, I agree. Miriam, where is your book available, or is it available? Do you have to get it on the dark web?
Like, what do I need to do to fall through the cracks again? Because I'm a real journalist with a degree and a #1 movie, and I haven't gotten my YouTube. They've deleted all my
too hot to handle.
Too dangerous, Miriam.
That's my book, Operation George Floyd. You can get it on miriamhinane.com. I'm in the midst of doing the Audible. It'll be ready shortly in my British accent. And it's also on Amazon, even though Miriam is not on Amazon. Thank you, Pasta. My show airs Friday on Rumble. Truth Lives Here. And people can buzz on over to honeycolony.com, a 14-year-old company that's into health and wellness, about empowering you to be your own best health advocate. And lastly, in the last week, I've lost 7 subscribers on Substack because I am really roasted everywhere. So miriamhinane.substack, I'm writing about things like, why did 23andMe take away my Judem? The gaslighting of memory, the rise and fall of the false memory syndrome. Exclusive report, the hidden blueprint behind global crisis simulation, miriamhinane.com. And miriamhinane.substack.com. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. And I'm working on my second book, which has nothing to do with George Floyd, it has to do with twin flames, quantum entanglement, reincarnation, and I'm having a lot of fun writing it. So
good. I hope you have fun writing this next book, because I know that the George Floyd book was a grind, and you did a shitload of research and spent a lot of money obtaining rare footage and licensing and things like that.
And now I'm radioactive.
Yeah, because of that. But you put the book out, and so for those interested, hey, give George Floyd for Christmas.
Well, it's a lot more. It's about how you make the sausage. It's about how multi-layered these psyops are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sam Tripoli left. He was here, but you can catch Tinfoil Hat wherever podcasts are available. Catch him out on the road. He's just did Skankfest. I know that, but I know he's on the road pretty much throughout the rest of the year. Midnight Mike is hunting Bigfoot, interdimensional Bigfoot, but he'll be back hopefully next time around. Ricky, what are you working on?
I just released a episode.
Music.
And music. Yes. Music. The Artificial Ripple EP just dropped today. Actually, it's available on iTunes and Spotify, or at least Pandora. I think Spotify will probably be available tomorrow. but all the singles are out. It's a little bit of songs about personal experiences and also songs about conspiratorial and historical thoughts and philosophies and whatnot. So a little bit of everything. That's like I said, out everywhere. And then podcasts. I just did one with Ryan Christian from The Last American Vagabond Friday. It was a really good conversation. That was released last night, Sunday, and I did one with Rob Dew from Infowars today. That'll be out hopefully soon. And then who else I got? I got Brad Brickley coming up from the Propaganda Report. I got some people. I don't know. I won't look right now, but yeah, I got some great shows. Graham from Grind America. We'll be catching up shortly. I think in a week or two.
Yeah, right.
So that'll be fun. We'll be wearing our MAGA hats and just talking about how much we love Trump. And just kidding. And yeah, that's it. So the shows are flowing. I was a little busy with sports and life and work and all the things I try to juggle. But I think as work slows down for me in the winter, I'll be putting out many more episodes on a much more regular basis. Hopefully some new music also. So help with the algorithms, rate, review, not just my show, everybody you listen to on this show, their show. That helps hopefully fight against the algorithms that are typically censoring shows like us. And I think that's it for that.
Yeah. Say what you will about Alex Jones. I like all the people that work over there. Rob Dew's fantastic. I met him in Austin, had him on the show, and Dan Lyman and Owen and Harrison, all really, really nice guys. I mean, I know Alex is a bit of a polarizing dude, but
listen, if I did a 3-hour show every day talking to myself,
I'd say some crazy shit. And then Midnight Mike would clip it, and it would be on OBDM on Wednesdays, which, by the way, go check out OBDM. It's the funniest podcast in the world. I swear to God, I never miss an episode. It is just right up my alley. It is just the right amount of smart and the right amount of stupid. It's just exactly what I need.
And then doom scrolling, right? They're still doing doom.
And doom scrolling is kicking ass too. Yeah, it's one of Sam's 10 shows, I think, that he's got. But as he said, if he wasn't doing shows, he'd be talking to himself. So better that than him standing on a corner. You can check out Macroaggressions. I had Doug Casey on last week. We were talking about his new book, Preparation. I had Brett Pike on from Classical Learner talking about homeschooling. So if you're thinking about homeschooling your kids, there are options out there. You don't have to be a super genius yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there that can help you. Brett Pike is fantastic for that. So I would encourage people to go take a listen to those episodes. And also check out Activist Post. Go to activistpost.com. I'm republishing 9 articles a day out there, and podcasts as well. A lot of times you'll catch Union of the Unwanted up there as a podcast article. So check it out, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Zach. Take care.
Bye.